sent to them by the state governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, for screening. Of course, some well-known names did not make it through that screening, which came to some as a surprise. I'm glad to say we have joining us now a public affairs analyst for more on this development in the state that is known as Nigeria's Center of Excellence, Lagos State. Sulaiman Ari Babu, good evening to you. Thank you very much for your time.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
So, Sulaiman, you're well aware of what happened. Lagos State House of Assembly comprised majorly of APC members, a majority party in the state, meaning there is a space for some sort of rubber stamp arrangement, if you want to call it that. What do you think went wrong that warranted the rejection of 17 nominees?
Well, we are in interesting times, and of course, incidentally, this is the first such exercise when Asiwaju will not be actively involved in Lagos affairs, of course, from the back end. So it is interesting, and it may also speak to the fact that despite the fact that there is a governor in Lagos State, we do not have clear leadership, political leadership of the party in Lagos as you say. I don't mean exco. I mean the kind of leadership that Asiwaju had. Of course, it also shows that Asiwaju or the party do not have somebody in the mold of the late Senator Pepe, who used to play this kind of role, this kind of back-end role for the state at the House of Assembly. So it is interesting. I think the House of Assembly is asserting its independence, its authority. Now, to which end? We are not going to go over ourselves thinking that, it's for the most altruistic reasons. No one can say that for sure for now. What we can only see is that, okay, they are asserting their independence. And of course, you would agree with me that a number of protests greeted the nominations, the list of nominees. People came from different angles. There was the religious angles where the Muslims felt shortchanged, and they protested to the House of Assembly and to the governor himself. There have been discussions around that. There's also the angle where some of the local government felt underrepresented. You saw members of those local governments, their representatives in the House, laying their complaint. So there are a number of sectors that felt disenfranchised, and they all raised their complaints. So this is a possible angle that you could look at it. You could also look at it that this is contention for political power in Lagos, who is going to be the de facto leader of the party. Or maybe we are just overthinking. Maybe this is just a plot by the House, to force the hands of the governor to some negotiations, which he will have no. Because when you look at the list, some of the names that were rejected, for instance, that of the former commissioner for budget and planning, Ebube, or even the powerful commissioner for health, Professor Abayomi, you'll be surprised that they did not make the list of those who were cleared.
Sulaiman, very interesting that you've gone there. The former commissioner for budget and strategy, you've talked about him. Akin Abayomi, a former commissioner for health, former commissioner for information and strategy, Gbenga Omotoso, amongst others. Are these commissioners who underperformed in your assessment in the last 4 years?
I certainly would not say so. I mean, you wouldn't say that Professor Abayomi underperformed. And I also don't think that Mr. Gbenga Omotoso underperformed. He did the job that he was hired for. And if the commissioner for budget and planning underperformed, then it means that Governor Sanwo-Olu himself underperformed. It will even mean that the House itself underperformed. Though I'm not saying that these people, this is the best that we could have, but I mean, compared to many others who are also returnees and made the clearance, I mean, Abayomi is a star. He might have other faults, but in terms of performance, you can't fault. So I beg to differ that it's not really. It might also be that the House has asked to grind with some of these people. Yes, that is also a possibility. The House may have asked to grind with some of them. We saw a bit of that in the National Assembly where the House, for instance, had an axe to grind with now Minister for Aviation and Space, Mr. Festus Keyamo, senior advocate. So, I mean, it could be that. It could be something as simple as straightforward as that. Now, if it is that, then it means that the governor will have to come up with his negotiating power and skills and negotiate with the House.
Very quickly, Sulaiman, you've talked about the governor coming up with negotiating skills. So looking at the lawmakers' action, you know, what does the future hold for Babajide Sanwo-Olu as governor of Lagos State? Because he still has bills and other policies to pass through the House of Assembly. What does the future hold for him?
That is why it is important for him to manage this very well. He needs to listen very well, see what sentiments the parliamentarians are pandering to. If it is the sentiments of the religious divide that felt disenfranchised, he should find a way to assuage that. Very important. If it is the sentiment that some of these commissioners have other issues, if it is the sentiment of those local governments or constituents that felt underserved, underrepresented on that list, he should address some of these things. If some of these commissioners have issues, this is where he comes up with his negotiating power. Go back to the House, appeal and do whatever else trading he needs to do.
All right, Sulaiman, thank you very much for your time. We have to call it a day at that. Sulaiman Ari Babu is a public affairs analyst who gave us his expert analysis.